Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Prada Motorsports. This one, we're going to be doing a few changes on INHONOUR to get her ready to go skids again. So we've had a couple of upgrade videos. You've seen us put a new motor in. The car's up and running. But we had some issues with our water pump. We had an electric water pump on it. Let's go and have a look at what we had. So this is the remnants of a Davis Craig water pump. Now, we've had two of these, both identical. Both of them leak water past all the seals, straight in, cook all the bearings, absolutely root everything. Junk. Absolute junk. So I'm not sure if anyone's actually had any good luck with those things, and if they have, well, you've got better luck than I do, because we have had no luck with those things at all. So what do you do when you can't get your Davis Craig water pump to work? You buy the finest Chinesium water pump you can find on eBay. Yep, that's right. This is a Speedmaster water pump off of eBay. Cost, I think it was 300 bucks. Equivalent to buying another Davis Craig water pump. And we figure, well, the last one was a bucket of shit. I'm not buying three of the same thing. So this is the upgrade. I have actually known for these water pumps to be used by, and the same brand, to be used by quite a few guys in the skid scene. Even some blown guys have used these and had no issues with them. So we've taken off the multitude of piping and crap that comes with the kit from Davis Craig to fit up to an LS, and we've bolted on this factory style replacement. It's not exactly a factory replacement, but it's going to do the job. It looks like it's going to do the job pretty well. Everything seems to line up pretty good. We're just going to have to mix and match some hoses and make it work. So, and do the wiring, which is already there from the Davis Craig one anyway. We just need to make it, work on our application, new one. So what we'll do is we'll go through a bit of a process of fitting this thing up. Obviously it's dummy fit on the car, but we need to make some gaskets for it and actually fit it onto the car. Then I'm going to go through a few other bits and pieces. I've had a few messages from some guys wanting to know what we've done in the way of power steering and brakes, etc. on this thing. So I'm going to go through and run through some bits and pieces that we've done for some upgrades on our car to make it work as a skid car. So we'll put that at the end of the episode. Alright, just took the fans out of the way so we can have a bit more access in here. So this is the water temp socket that comes with the Davis Craig kit. So we are still going to be using that. And then with the LS radiator, because they don't have a filler, you normally fill through the overflow tank. We've gone and bought again, Chinesium eBay spec filler cap. Just makes life a lot easier, quicker to fill the car up full of water. So this might need to be trimmed down a little bit too. So yeah, so we're just making this work. So we're still going to have our filler cap and our temperature sensor in here to work with the new setup. figuring out some hoses. Probably going to need to take some off of there as well. A little bit of tour on there. Probably a good idea now. That's better.
That's like a bit of lube there.
Brighten up the day. Cut them off that one, and then can probably even bring this one this way a little bit more too, to try and give it so that it has a bit of a kink on it. Right, let's have a tweak of some hoses. Alrighty, bit of a fluff around, but we seem to have got our angle out of here, our filler down into our temperature gauge sender and into our pump, and then the pump down here, down and joined together and into our bottom radiator hose. Join a factory piece. We did have another factory Commodore one, but it didn't quite line up with this, so we used a couple of bits that we were using before with a bit of a joiner from the Davis Craig kit, so it seems to work together and go alright. So that should work quite nicely. So that just needs to be cleaned up and then hose clamped. Now we've got to do a bit of wiring and get our wiring together. Where was our wiring for our water pump? For our other water pump. Just it here? No, they're fans.
All come off of here.
Oh, they're down there. Okay, alright. So we need to go through our wiring down here for our other fans and the relay and make it work. So we'll have a bit of a look around at that and see what can come together, and then it should be button it up. We need to take the pump off still. We need to make some gaskets up because they come with gaskets for here, but I think that you're meant to use some factory ones for there, but our factory ones are cooked, so they're flat surface to flat surface. So we'll make some gaskets up ourselves. We've got some gasket paper and tromp them out and get them done. Bit of RTV, never hurt anybody. Alrighty, let's have a look at some wiring. Okie dokie. Well, after Dad's pulled his hair out a half dozen times and I had to go and try and break into a Commodore, we've got some wiring all sorted. It's not in its proper spot, so wiring's all sorted, relay is working, and so is the pump. So now we need to put it all apart. We need to make some gaskets, finish up all the hoses, put some hose clamps on it, slide our fans back in, and we're all ready to go. So let's get it buttoned up. Kit's all off. It's actually quite a solid bit of kit. Quite well built. Seems to be pretty good. They O-ring onto the back of the water pump, and then it's just a flat machine surface both sides, which you would normally use your water pump gaskets, but our ones are cooked, so we're going to use, since it's two machine faces, it doesn't need to be O-ringed, so we're going to make a paper gasket up, just like a thermostat gasket. The other side's got the O-ring, which works well, so I'll gasket that up and then it all goes together, nice and simple. So The only thing we had to modify was here. It needed a little notch to clear the head, where the head sticks out on the one side. It needed to be notched on that, but in all seriousness, what new product doesn't need a bit of modification? Because it doesn't seem to matter whether you pay good quality or lots of money for good quality products, or you pay little amounts of money for cheap shit products. They all seem to be needing modification to fit. And a little tiny grind off the side makes no difference to the running of any of the product, and away it fits. Everything else seems to be pretty good so far, works, so let's get it all back together. Alright, some very professionally made water pump, genuine, can you believe it? Genuine Holden. We were lucky to find these. They're rare, and they're difficult to find. Cool, well, Dad's just neatened up all the hoses, so it's time to clean some surfaces. We've got some retive and put this sucker together.
Gaskets are a bit loose.
What do you mean? I copied exactly what the other gasket was. To the T.
We've got it around the right way.
I don't know, have you?
Should be. It only goes one way, right?
Yeah. I have my thumb very strategically placed here because some dumbass poked a hole
Wrong place.
right the way through when the end was hard.
These are
Little ones.
little ones going there. Hold it in.
And the Allen key is right there.
Is it?
Right there.
There. Just line it up there. Yeah. Started.
Alright. So we'll get the other side on. Looks like it's just cockeyed a little bit. Yep. We'll get the other side on, and then we'll put the O-rings into these blocks and then set the water pump back on. Alright, so it's a bit of a juggle to put the O-rings on at the same time, etc, etc, but we got there in the end. We're just nipping everything up, and then this is going to come out and be sealed. That's going to come out and be sealed. Well, it's already out, it's right there. Put some thread seal on that.
Yeah, seal it on the back table out there.
Yeah. So I'll go and grab that, and we can, Dad's going to just finish nipping these up, and we're almost done. Alrighty, as you can see, pump's on, bottom hose is done, all the clamps are all done. We've run our wiring over the top It's all clamped in, and is there a hose clamp on there? Nope, so it's going to come off again. So we have our, comes out of the pump into our temp sensor, across to our filler, and into our radiator. Looking pretty good so far. Oh, I think I might need a little bit more than that. Alright, let's get some water in this girl, see if it leaks. Okay. It'll get there eventually, I suppose. I'm going to check for some leaks. Hopefully everything's all good. Fire the pump up. See if it comes hammering out of here, which the other one did. It had a tendency to do that when it was new. When it worked. When and if it worked. So we'll everything's going pretty good so far. So as you can see, it's all buttoned up. Water temp sensors plugged in. It's all wired up and done. One of our little to-do lists is a new oil pressure sender for the oil pressure gauge inside, because we rated this one to go unmanged up. Well, actually what we've been doing is whenever we've been using that car, we've been taking it off of there, and we're taking it off here and putting it on there, and whenever we need this car, we take it off there and put it back on here. So I've got another one, and now the gauge manged up's completely shit itself. So it reads 0 oil pressure, but yet after a skid, it's still reading 40 odd pounds of oil pressure at the engine. So because we've got a secondary gauge, we even run the same thing on here. So down in here, there's a secondary gauge that we've mounted. We do the same thing. So which, while we wait for this thing to fill up, one of the things I said just not long ago in the video was I've had a few questions, and I get a lot of questions actually, mostly about how can I get my Ecotech to last longer. I was like, well, and every time I tell them, they don't want to do it. But anyway, we can run through that in another video, or you can go back to one of our previous videos and check out how we build an Ecotech, which we haven't done everything, but it's done most of the things. A couple of the questions have been, what do we do for power steering? What do we do for brakes? So this thing is carbide and a fairly aggressive cam. So obviously we lose a lot of our brake pressure, like a lot of the vacuum for the brakes. What we've done is, if you scoot down here, we've actually run a line from the booster, comes down along the inside of the chassis rails. You can see it there. It's dirty. Okay, we haven't used the car for a while. And it disappears down there. Pops out down here, and this is it's full. Okay, let's pause that. Okay, just need to put the expansion hoses back on. While Dad's doing that, I'll finish off what I was talking about here. Down here is well, this one come off of a VF Commodore, a LFX engine, but I'm pretty sure they run them on whatever other VE/VF vacuum pumps, and you'll see them when you take the top plastic cover off. They basically sit on the front of the engine. It's right here. It's quite simple. 2 wires, power and earth, and you got a vacuum line. So you just got your line in and out. It's so simple to hook up. We just mounted it up here underneath the guard out of the way, but you can mount it wherever you like. Like, it's seriously, you can mount it at the back there or inside your guards, or it all depends on what sort of quality you're going for with your car. I mean, this thing's a little untidy these days, but you know, like, I want to keep the engine bay fairly empty and tidy, so we hide things away. This thing literally has bugger all wiring in the engine bay, apart from what you can need to physically run it, like the MSD harness, some wires for the fans and stuff that's down here out of the way. But apart from that, as you can see, there's no fuse box or big wiring harness or nothing on the inside of the engine bay. This car, it's actually all been relocated to underneath the mudguard in here. And the other thing is power steering. So we just run an Astra pump. It's commonly used, nothing abnormal about what we're running, but I'll give you a couple little hints as to what we do and what we've done to make ours a little bit easier and cheaper to organise. So you can pick them up for $100 if you're onto it. You can pick them up for around $150. Some guys I see out there for 200. Depends on where you're looking and if you're in a hurry to pick it up, and you can shop around. Ours is mounted down here, and it's up underneath there. We use the Astra bracket that we modified, and it's all up underneath the bottom of the guard here. I have actually seen some people do this conversion and put them down there. So if you Google it, is on a Commodore too, so you can have a look. There is a couple of YouTube videos out there where guys have mounted them down here. Now there's a couple of reasons to mount it down here. One, it's out of the way. It doesn't have this huge big ugly pump sitting in the middle of your engine bay, because a lot of guys do a battery relocation and they just jam it there. Now we put it down the bottom, and all you can see is the lid just here. So you just cut a hole in there where the battery usually is. Ours a bit bigger, Dad's made up a plate and it's been through a few adaptations, but you can just cut enough to be able to get the cap off and excuse the dirtiness it needs to clean, and that's it. All right. The other thing is, in order to make it work, depending on where you're mounting it. Now I have seen some guys mount them in the back of their trays of their utes.
Most of them mounted on this side.
Yeah, a lot of guys mount it on the passenger side because they've probably still got the battery.
No, they've got the original water power steering lines.
Oh,
coming over this
that's
side.
right. The V8 ones, the power steering lines go to the passenger side,
Yeah.
but of course they don't come anywhere near the pump. So
They make up
they're out of, yeah. So what they end up doing is they're going into Pertec and they're spending $200 or $300 on these special fittings that fit into these pumps, because they're, you know, a specific thread, and they are costing a lot of money to get these really high pressure hoses made. Now, in order to make this work, what Dad did was he actually used the V6 lines, the factory V6 lines, and on a V6 they're on the driver's side, not the passenger side like a V8. And all we did was we went into Bunnings and bought, we actually had it anyway, but was over the top of a line bender. Didn't we put that on there? No, you didn't?
I just put in a vice and straighten it out and then bend it to the shape
Okay,
I
we did
want.
that for the other lines then, for the fuel tank.
Fuel tank.
So yeah, all we did was just really gently put them in the vise, straighten them out very gently, and then bent them to the shape we needed, and it actually worked perfectly to go off the steering rack and mount it underneath the corner
It's the
of here.
thread in the pump. The nut screws in on the steel high pressure pipe, screws in, but it won't bottom out. So what I've done is I cut the back of the nut back. Only needs to be 6 millimetre off the inside of the nut, and it's screwed in there enough to tighten up on there, so you don't have to buy special fittings or anything.
Yep. So there you go, just a little bit of a cut off the front. It's the front side of the nut, so that the thread side, so that it sits further in the pump and it bottoms out and seats nicely.
Yeah.
So that's one way to be able to reuse your factory lines. Now you can get Commodore V6 lines for free everywhere. Remove them, modify them, run them down, mount your pump underneath the mudguard, and boom, Astra pump conversion for only the cost of the pump, rather than having to be hundreds of dollars in expense on top of the cost of the thing. All right, so I hope that's helped a couple of guys. I know I've had a few questions on that, so it's hopefully that's helped a few of you. I'm going to turn the pump on, shall we?
Yeah, I just fill it up
Yeah,
and check all
we are just full. So let's turn the pump on and see if our pump works. Yeah, it's probably going to squirt straight out the top. That's what she said. So let's in here.
Yep,
There we go.
again.
Cool. So there it is. So you can see it's got a good solid flush there. It's actually pushing quite well against my finger. Nice and quiet.
Yeah, a lot bloody quieter than that.
And it's a sealed unit, so we're not going to have the issue of having water getting into the pump, etc., etc.
It's the same sort of.
Well, hopefully. Well, I mean, we had, like I said before, we've had bad luck with Davis Craig stuff, and it didn't get us anywhere. So the electric water pump, what's the advantages? Well, obviously it shortens down the belt. So now our belt literally only runs the alternator. That's it. Tensioner, alternator, harmonic. So then when you finish your skid, you can park your car up if you've got a good sized battery, or you can have you've got a generator to recharge your battery in between skids, leave your fans running, leave your pump going, cool your car back down to a nice running temperature. Of course, this thing runs on methanol at the moment. It's about to be converted to E85, so it shouldn't be an issue with temperature, but of course, every car gets hot doing a burnout no matter what. So it's nice to be able to idle it down for a little bit and then turn it off, let it cool itself down and get it back down to temperature. Alrighty, well, that brings us probably to the end of this episode. You've seen us fit Chinesium at its finest and run through a couple of things that makes what we do to be able to make a V6, oh not a V6, the V6 lines run with your Astra pump, and what we do for our brakes. So we're actually going to do in the future, now it's not going to be an LS swapped car, but it will be a V6, but I am going to do an Astra pump conversion on Manged Up, also on Chloe's burnout car coming up really shortly. So, and Manged Up's even got a fairly big cam in it, so we may even put a vacuum pump on there and give it a helping hand for the brakes, even though the brakes do work pretty well. But if we can pick up one of those pumps for pretty much nothing, it makes it a lot easier. So thanks very much for watching. While this video has been filming, we've actually crossed over 1,000 subscribers, so we are absolutely chuffed with that, and thank you very much to everybody who has joined in and come along for the ride on that 1,000 subscribers. And this last 12 months, we've clocked over the 12-month anniversary only a couple of weeks ago. I actually missed it. 10th of July, we uploaded our first video, and here we are a couple of weeks later. So thanks very much for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. And we'll be back shortly with another video, and hopefully it helps you just as much as it's helped us. Thanks very much. See you next time.